Folks, bear with me today. I'm feeling a little not like myself. I went to the dentist this morning and got a tooth filled, and then after that, I thought we were gonna have storage units to go do. Turns out it was the wrong day, so we went back to our storage unit, and I began to clean off that brass tray table that we have that we feel like is super antique and super valuable. So basically what I'm saying is I've been huffing Brasso all afternoon, so if I don't seem like myself, bear with me. Folks, we're getting ready to talk about something that I hope you guys are going to find interesting. It could be a boring topic, but trust me when I tell you, we're going to make this a good video. Folks, what I hold in my hand right here are 16 pieces of paper. On these 16 pieces of paper are 658 matches. And I'm not talking about no Match.com neither. I'm talking about the North Carolina Department of Public Safety disapproved publication report. What I have in my hand right here, folks, is 16 pages of books that prisoners are not allowed to get. And I know we've done a couple of videos in the past about books and magazines up in prison, but this is brand new right here, folks. This report just came out on September the 18th, 2019. And again, folks, there are 658 books and magazines and also photos that prisoners are not allowed to have. And when you hear some of these that I'm getting ready to share with you guys, you're probably gonna think to yourself, why in the world would a prisoner not be allowed to get that book magazine? Well, the photos will probably make a lot of sense, but why in the world would they not be allowed to get these? But then again, on the flip side of the coin, some of these are probably gonna make perfect sense. So I'm getting ready to share with you guys some of the books and magazines and photos that make this list. And you know, we're gonna try to figure out why exactly prisoners are not allowed to get these. Now, as we get into this, the first thing that I want to share with you guys is, you know, a lot of these books and magazines that make this list are urban publications, hood books and magazines. And in those type of publications, whether it is a book or a magazine, you know, those are usually like some go hard street novels or about getting money, moving major kilos, gangster type stuff. And I'm gonna share a couple of those with you right quick. One book in particular that makes the list is called A Gangster's Girl. You know, it's no stretch of the imagination to think that, you know, most good girls like the bad guys. So what is so wrong with a book that's titled A Gangster's Girl? Are there a lot of provocative scenes in this book? Because I'm gonna tell you right now, that's another thing about them hood novels. And trust me, I read plenty of them while I was locked up. You're gonna be reading some of those books in prison like, oh God, that tastes like Brasso. Hey yo, who got back shower next? And anybody got any saran wrap I can borrow? Try to laminate a book and take that with me. A Gangster's Girl saga introduces, Lord, how do you pronounce that? Kezia Deverox, as she transforms from the good girl gone bad to the ride or die chick that you love to hate. And you know, like I said at the beginning of this video, some of the books that make this list, you know, they're gonna make sense. Like this book here, A History of Cannibalism. You know, I'm just gonna tell you this right now. Let's just say this book did not make the list, and hypothetically, you're in prison, you're going into a new cell block, into a new cell, you walk up into your cell, and before you can even introduce yourself to your cellie, you notice that this dude is laid up on his bunk, butt ball naked. I don't know why he gotta be naked, but he's reading a book called The History of Cannibalism. What you gonna do? I'll tell y'all right now what I'm gonna do. Guard! Guard! Hey, my cellmate just threatened to do bodily harm to me. Lock him up! That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, I told it. Ain't about to put me up in no cell with a dude reading The History of Cannibalism. Other books to make this list include A Hustler's Son, also A Hustler's Wife. As Is Magazine. I have never heard, I've heard of a lot of crazy magazines. You know, you'll see a lot of crazy magazines when you're serving time in prison. As Is Magazine.
Here's the definition of magazine.
That's not what I asked you, Google. Google, I did not ask you for the definition of a magazine. Wow. As Is Magazine is a publication that specializes in educating a lifestyle that is often looked at as criminal, troubled, rebellious, and hard to reach. Oh, and by the way, I'm on the website right now for As Is Magazine, which stands for Artist, Streets, Info, and Style. That's actually a pretty clever play on words right there. Another magazine that prisoners are not allowed to get, and this is actually kind of interesting. It reminds me of something. You know, there'll be certain magazines that prisoners are allowed to get, but possibly certain issues of that magazine that they're not. Like this one right here, Backpacker, October 2018. I'm not even going to attempt to look up, what was in Backpacker in October of 2018. Maybe some guy was packing the back. Oh, boy. I doubt that's what it is. Backpacker magazine to me sounds like a guy or a gal that likes to go out in nature and enjoying them, a Nature Valley hidden granola bar. Somebody who likes to take in the outdoors. Brokeback Mountain maybe. But in some of these publications, they might have an article in there like, how to make a raft out of a prison jumpsuit. And that'll be a perfect example of why you're not going to get that issue. But this particular magazine, Backpacker, October 2018, I honestly don't know what it is. There's also a photo that made this list that I searched long and hard for because I was very curious when I saw this. Could not find any information on this, folks. If you can find Balfet, balloon fetish, it's a photograph. Maybe it's on Imgur, or Reddit. Y'all let me know. Send me an email because I'm definitely dying to see what this balloon fetish is all about. And folks, in between the ones that I've highlighted to share with you guys in this video are just tons and tons of urban books. Here's a couple more to give you guys an idea. We've got Black Girl Lost. You know what's crazy? We found that book. We found the first Black Girl Lost and Black Girl Lost 2 up inside of a storage unit. We've actually got those books. I've actually got a decent little collection of urban books, as a matter of fact. We're going to be posting those on the website. If you guys want to read some straight gangster savagery and also some erotic novels as well, you ought to check out an urban book. Boat International, November 2018. They're probably showing you how to construct a raft out of ramen noodles, something that prisons are going to consider a security threat. And also, books can be a major security threat. Prisons are not oblivious to the fact that prisoners can learn a lot of stuff from books and magazines. How to build this, how to do that, maybe how to con and manipulate. Another book that I'm sure is on this list, but I haven't seen it, is The 48 Laws of Power, and definitely The Art of Seduction. The 48 Laws of Power is a book about how to be smarter than your opposition, smarter than the competition. The Art of Seduction is how to talk the pants off of a correctional officer. I mean, that's basically it in a nutshell, and that's why you're not going to be allowed to get it when you're serving time. Book of GLOCK, Bottles and Models, issue 10. No, not issue 10. Gosh, oh my. I looked for Bottles and Models, could not find anything on this magazine. Busted Locals. Here we go, folks. This is a newspaper. You got Busted Locals, and then you've got Busted Mugshots and Arrest Records. They call that a book. And you're probably wondering yourself, why would they not allow prisoners to be able to get that? I've been places where prisoners are allowed to get that, and crazy enough to think back to it, it was while I was in the jail at the Snitch Factory, Western Tidewater Regional Jail. It made a lot of sense why prisoners wanted that, because they want to see who's getting locked up, what their charges are. That way they can get, a jump on the competition in terms of trying to jump on that individual's case in an effort to get them a a time cut. See what I did right there? Tekashi 6ix9ine. Complete definition. Snitching, time cut, cooperation. Can't Stop, Won't Stop. That's a book. Carolina Bargain Trader. It's like the classifieds. Why would prisoners not be allowed to get that? Celebrity Address Book. That makes a lot of sense. CBD Every Day. Isn't that like a vape or something? Cemetery Dance, issue 77. That's a magazine. What in the God's name? Cemetery Dance magazine. Cemetery Dance Publication is a specialty press publisher of horror and dark suspense. Again, if you go up into a cell and your cellie is reading something called the Cemetery Dance, that dude's a devil worshiper. Coca-Cola. And we're not talking about the soft drink right there. We're talking about The Baddest Chick, guaranteed hands down to be a hood novel right there. What is Coca-Cola? I'm going to look it up and I'm going to find nothing but soda. Ooh. Harlem Honey's Apple and Cola are back and cutthroat as ever and serving the city that never sleeps. Now permanently disfigured, the once beautiful Apple's future isn't looking bright as the empire she worked so hard to build begins to crumble brick by brick. I'm guaranteeing they ain't talking about no concrete blocks neither. They're talking about straight kilos. A photo, CT15 Camel Toes 2015. Again, folks, I'm not even going to take the time to look that up. If you guys can find that, please send that to me. I'd be interested in seeing that. A bunch of very, very erotic titles that I'm not even going to mention here. Dog Tales. It's a book. What do you think DOG stands for? We ain't talking about DOG, we talking about DAWG, Dog Tales. No idea? Well, let me tell you, it stands for Down-Ass White Girls. Oh my God. What is this? Oh God, I gotta see what this is about. Dog Tales. See, you spelled it like, I don't want to see an actual dog's tail.
According to Wikipedia,
Google.
wagging by dogs is the behavior of the dog observed as its tail moves back and forth in the same plane.
Why would you give me the definition for wagging? Sheena was a hit woman for the local gang, Cash Dogs, who were based in the Magnolia housing projects in New Orleans. She had already carried out 15 hits and counting. Thank God she didn't know Tekashi. Love was the last thing on her mind until it found her. Kelly was the lawyer of choice for the hustlers and played the game just as hard as her clients. She considered herself a lover who used up men and women, her bitches, as she called them, to get all the finer things in life. Cole was an up-and-coming baller who had just inherited the throne from his brother who received a 15-year stint in Angola State Prison. Rodney was the straight-edge international postal service delivery man who was continuously tempted by the lure of the streets and all the possessions his friends had that he could never afford on his salary. Dude, you got a government job, Rodney. You work for the post office. Leave them streets alone. Well, I guess we didn't really get an idea what was going on in the book, but we learned about some characters. Don Diva, issue 63. That's going to be a hood street magazine right there. Dragon Balls. Why can't prisoners get Dragon Balls? Comic books are a big thing in prison. Maybe it's because of the word balls. Fed Magazine, you probably can't get very many issues of that. They've got a whole list of issues right here that you can't get because of certain articles, I imagine. Just like with Don Diva, Fed Magazine is going to be your hood, your street magazine, the ear to the streets. One of these magazines even prided themselves with the tagline, the Bible of the streets, which I ain't taking nothing from them because they interview some sure enough real gangsters. Fashion Now, it's a book. Why wouldn't prisoners be allowed to get that? Prisoners want to keep up with the times, and fashion is a big thing. While serving time, you're going to see a lot of dudes making a lot of interesting fashion statements. Behind the fence and behind the walls, prisoners create their own fashion. Felon Magazine, that sounds like that would be absolutely something that prisoners would want to be able to read. But just like Don Diva, just like Fed, Felon Magazine, there's a list of those that they're not allowed to get. Field and Stream. Probably going to be some sort of survival guide, how to live off the grid when you finally escape. 50 Shades of Grey, 50 Shades Darker, just a little too erotic for what prisons are going to want you to be reading. Fight Club, I did not know that there was even a Fight Club 2, but there is, and both of those books are not allowed. G-Spot, Girl Trade, I'm going to leave that one alone. Guns and Ammo, that makes a lot of sense. GQ, April of 2008. What could GQ possibly be talking about? It could be just a little too much for the prisons. Ham on Rye, that's a book. I've got no idea what that is. I highlighted it and I definitely want to know. Watch this thing pull up a sandwich. I did not mean pull up a sandwich. Ham on Rye book.
According to Wikipedia, Ham on Rye is a 1982 semi-autobiographical novel by American author and poet Charles Bukowski.
It's a book about poetry. He was a poet, though. That don't even make no sense. Harper's Bazaar. Isn't that like a family magazine right there? You ain't getting that up in the prison. High Times. Well, that makes a lot of sense. There's also a book called High School DxD. Damn sure ain't getting no books about no high school girls. How to Build a Dungeon, Volume 1. No. Oh, can you imagine being in prison and seeing a guy reading a book called How to Build a Dungeon? Oh no, you gonna go home and abduct you some girls, ain't you? What you trying to build a dungeon for? Ain't you ever heard of Armageddon? Don't you ever be hearing about them asteroids? One day the world's gonna end, you gonna wish you knew how to build a dungeon. How to Build a Dungeon 2, there's also a second version of that, but there's also a book, How to F a Woman. If you need to read a book on that, son, we need to have a conversation. How to Pick Pockets, Human Rights Magazine. Guess they don't want you knowing anything about your rights while you're locked up. Jeffrey Dahmer, you ain't reading no books about him. The Kurt Cobain journals, nope, not gonna make it. Kingpin ATL, Brick and Storm. I guarantee the brick they're talking about is a white one. Letters to Penthouse, every single one of those you ain't getting. And folks, if you don't know what Letters to Penthouse is, those are like as erotic as it gets in terms of stories, short stories. Short stories that are gonna make you be asking, hey, back shower! All sorts of tattoo magazines and books. You ain't gonna be getting too many of those. Pimpology by Pimpin'. Prison health news. Wow. And also prison legal news. I don't know what prison health news is, but I know what prison legal news is, and that's a major publication that gives you a lot of information on what's going on in the judicial system and also in the prison systems all throughout the country and also the world. And it's crazy to think that a magazine like that or a newsletter, you know, a lot of prisons don't want you to have that. I don't know why. Raised as a goon. Seriously sexy. Slippery when wet. I don't think they're talking about no floors wet. Meaning the police coming through. Snow White. A survival story. You can't even get the damn Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition. Any of them. Tattoo Fall, Tattoo Johnny, Tattoo Review, Tattoo Road Trip, Tattoo Showcase, Tattoo Society, Tattoopedia, Tattooed Women, Tattooed and Pierced. Yeah, like I said, there's a lot of tattoo. You're really not getting very many tattoo books when you're serving time. There it is, folks. I knew it was going to be on this list. The 48 Laws of Power. Thickums. That's a book. You can't even get no book about Tupac. That's crazy. And folks, we've just been skimming through this list, throwing out names that just sound kind of crazy or interesting. We're on the final page right here where we've got White Trash. That's a book. Don't know what that's about. A book called Whoreson that was written by Donald Goines. I actually read that book while I was serving time. It was a very good book. Donald Goines is one hell of an author. Whoreson was about a kid whose mother, and she named him Whoreson, actually. Really good book, though. Double XL magazine, Young, Rich, and Dangerous, what everybody in prison aspires to be when they get released. The final two things on here are very interesting. The second to last thing is a photo simply called number 2 and a pamphlet called 3 Positions Against Prison. You know, when you're serving time, books and magazines are going to be a big part of how you do it. If you ain't got a TV and you can't watch what you want to watch and the TV is stuck on sports or stuck on something that you don't want to watch and you're not a fan of sports, you're going to find yourself reading a lot of books. And you're also going to find it very interesting, certain books that you're not allowed to get. And in this video, we've addressed quite a few of this updated, newly released banned books list from down in North Carolina. Every state is different. You might be hearing me say some of these, talking about dog tails, down-ass white chicks. I read that while I was serving time. Joe, that's allowed in prison. Not in North Carolina, it's not. And I bet you it ain't allowed in Virginia neither. Folks, I just wanted to share this with you guys, and I hope that you found this interesting. And if you did so, please leave a like and a comment letting me know exactly what you think about this. You know, it's hard to understand why some publications or some issues of certain publications aren't allowed. But then again, on the flip side of the coin, others, well, they seem pretty self-explanatory just from the titles. But as always, until next time, enjoy life, the free world. Never take a moment for granted and make the most of every day.